kill your mother?
We use
you and who?
me and Wakot.
Wakot.
How na take kill am?
That one they were.
That one we don't go in house, we don't see am there.
So how na take kill am?
Now take kill your mama.
We hit am something.
Wetin be the thing?
What you want to take it out?
Story. Oh, it's one of those things you hear and your heart just sinks. It's not the kind of thing anyone would expect. And honestly, it feels like a bad dream. Imagine a young man, Matthias Amund, planning with his friend to murder his own mother. Not just that, he didn't stop at killing her. He shaved her private parts because some native doctor told him it was the key to becoming rich. What has this world turned into? This nightmare unfolded in Obu local government area of Cross River State just a few days before Christmas in December 2024. Miss Justina Amund was a hardworking woman known for her dedication to her faith. That day, she'd been in church all day. You know how it is during the festive season. Programs, choir rehearsals, late night prayers. By the time she returned home, it was late and the house was quiet. Miss Justina lived a simple life. She shared her home with her housemaid, and that night, it was just the two of them. Whether she was married or had other children isn't clear. But from all indications, this was a peaceful household. Her routine was typical. Lock the doors, freshen up, eat, maybe watch some TV and head to bed. What she didn't know was that her own son, 29-year-old Matthias, had snuck into the house earlier with his friend. They hid in the kitchen store, waiting for her to go to sleep. Can you imagine that level of betrayal? Your own child planning such wickedness under your roof. And he knew her routine so well. When she'd lock up, when the house would settle, everything. Now, here's where things get even worse. Just as they were stepping out of their hiding place to carry out their evil plan, the housemaid woke up to get some water. She heard noises and spotted shadows in the kitchen. Immediately, she screamed. And that scream was what woke Miss Justina. Like any mother, she ran to the kitchen to protect the maid. She didn't know exactly what was going on, but I'm sure she thought it was a robbery or some intruders trying to harm her housemaid. But when she got to the kitchen and saw her son Matthias standing there, her guard dropped. Think about it. This is her own child. What mother would immediately assume the worst of her son? She must have thought, what's going on here? Matthias, what are you doing? But before she could even process the situation, Matthias did the unthinkable. He pulled out a sledgehammer, and hit her on the head. He didn't stop there. He kept hitting her until she collapsed, lifeless. I can't even imagine the pain and betrayal Miss Justina must have felt in her final moments. Her own child, the one she brought into this world, turned against her in such a cruel way. But it didn't end there. After killing her, they shaved her private parts and put the hair in a zip bag, all because some so-called native doctor told them it would make them rich. How does one even believe something so ridiculous? People who cut hair for a living don't get rich by collecting it. Yet here's someone thinking killing his mother and shaving her would unlock wealth. It's madness. They didn't stop at the murder. Matthias and his friend dumped her body in the well in the backyard and locked the housemaid in the kitchen store. They threatened her, warning her to stay quiet or she'd meet the same fate. Then they dragged her out, forced her onto a motorcycle and rode off. Where were they taking her? To the native doctor to kill her as well? Only they know. But you see, evil plans don't always succeed. As they approached a police checkpoint, they must have realized their foolishness. A motorcycle is the worst choice of transportation for a kidnapping. The maid was bound to draw attention. So they panicked. They abandoned the motorcycle, left the maid behind, and fled on foot. Thankfully, the housemaid went straight to the police, or according to some reports, to her family first, who then alerted the authorities. Either way, the police got involved and returned to the house, where they found Miss Justina's body in the well. As for Matthias, he went into hiding, but you can only run for so long. By January 2025, the police caught him. He was paraded in public, and when asked why he did it, his excuses were as foolish as his action. His friend, however, is still on the run. But no matter where he hides, justice will find him. This story is as tragic as it is infuriating. Imagine the pain Miss Justina's loved ones must feel. This was someone's daughter, sister, friend, a woman who dedicated herself to God and her family, only to be betrayed in such a horrific way. And for what? Money. Wealth that would never come. Let me say this loud and clear. No amount of money is worth your soul. Anyone who tells you that harming another person, let alone your own flesh and blood, will bring you wealth is only leading you to destruction. We must do better. As parents, as a community, we need to raise children with values, with the fear of God, with a sense of right and wrong. And we need to speak out against these so-called native doctors who manipulate desperate people into committing unspeakable acts. May Miss Justina's soul rest in peace. And may we never give birth to children who will bring us harm.
Go talk.